You guys. I see people are hopping in. Good morning. Sorry for the delay. We are trying to stream this on Facebook, and of course, Facebook is giving us difficulties, but the good old, our amazing tech Justin will keep trying, and hopefully eventually we can stream this in. But come on in. We're going to wait a few minutes, let all of our friends hop on since we are not doing on Facebook Live today. Fingers crossed that it'll work. But good morning, you guys. I'm so excited to be on. As we wait for a few minutes and let our friends come on in, what are you guys grateful for this morning? What did we wake up grateful for? I'd love for you to share that in the chat, because remember, we're practicing gratitude every single day. We want to make that part of our daily activities, is waking up and verbally saying, what are we grateful for, right? Saying that out loud, because we have so much to be grateful for in this world today, where who knows what's going on, but we've got each other and we've got everything that we need. So I'm excited to be on this morning. We're going to wait another minute to have more people hop in, because I know that Facebook is not working today, but I'm excited to be on with you guys. For those who don't know me, my name is Michelle Bamba, and I'm excited to be your host today. I have an incredible lineup of speakers today who are just going to breathe fire into you. But before we kind of get started, how many of you are learning so much this week? Like, maybe you've heard some of this stuff before, but now you're like, oh, I get it. Or, wow, I'm hearing it in a different way, to where you're excited to apply this. But how many of you are actually applying it to your business already, right? Because it's all in the action steps, you guys. I hope that you are doing your action steps, because just being here and watching this isn't going to grow your business or move your business forward. Action does, right? Getting into action. So yesterday we talked about continuously filling our funnel with clients, right? Jamil did such an incredible job going over that, and how we continuously want to keep growing that funnel and continue to fill that funnel up. We learned about how to identify our coaches within our clients. Priscilla Allen came on, she just spit fire onto all of us on the different buckets and how we move our clients forward. And then we talked about the celebration call and how to master that. And I shared this yesterday, guys. The celebration calls are my jam. So let me ask you though, how many of you took on that challenge? How many of you went to all of the clients that did not have a celebration call and tried setting one up? Because I hope you did, because if not, you're missing out, just saying. So yesterday I talked about the 5 C's in your business, right? That's going to set you up for growth. We've got our conversations, we've got our client support, we have the celebration call, which we went over yesterday, and then we have the 4th and the 5th, the coach explore and coach support. So today we're really going to dive into the last 2 C's, which is the coach explore and how to master that skill set. And then the first part of coach support, which starts with the meet and greet and how to really master that and set your new coach up for success. But before we kind of get into all of that and dive deep into all of that, let's first start this call out with an incredible individual. I am so blessed to know, we've asked her to come on and share her road to FIBC and any tips that she may have to bless us with. So Micah Keene has had quite the journey. Once she made the decision to go FIBC and knowing that FIBC was what she wanted, she went all in. And last month, her team went fully integrated. So I am so excited to bring on Integrated Regional Director, Micah Keene. So Micah, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here this morning. And gosh, that's such a great introduction, just to be able to hear that, like, oh my gosh, integrated, it happened. That's so crazy. That's been a goal for a long time. And so I'm just every time she says that, I'm like, oh my gosh, it happened. Now, if it can just continue to grow, right? That's the key. So my name is Micah King, and I just wanted to share a little bit about my whole journey this past year and a half. And as I was thinking, what am I going to share this morning? There's so many things that happened over this past year and a half that I just can't really explain it all in 4 minutes. And so I guess I'll just kind of start with the beginning, where I started coaching. It was actually at the same time that I became a client. So when I decided to go on the program, I just talk about things naturally, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm going to do this thing and it's going to be so much fun and whatever. And I got 5 friends that were like, hey, we want to do that too. And so of course my coach was like, you have 5 friends and you want to coach eventually, maybe you're going to coach sooner than you thought. Okay, perfect. So started as a client, started as a senior coach. It kind of all went together at the same time. And I remember on my first health assessment, one of my friends had shared that we were in the middle of it and his why was so big. And he said, if I have to live in this body, I don't want to live anymore. And I was like taken back because I realized, okay, wait, it truly is so much more than a diet. There is so much mindset and heart and, struggles that people are going through, that if I'm going to coach, like, I got to understand it is not a diet. Like, we really need to, like, I just took it to heart. It just became a much bigger reason for me to share this gift with others, and to understand that this is something people need. They're struggling, and they need to know about what we can offer them. And so I took this group that we had, and I just kept posting along the way on Facebook and things like that. Oh, we had lost this many pounds and we were doing great, and all the amazing transformations that were happening. And so, of course, people were catching on to that, and it caught fire pretty quickly. And so things were taking off, and it was great. And I remember in my Coach Explore call that, actually, it probably would have been more of the meet and greet. I told this to Josh not long ago, and I said, when you asked me, well, what would be your crazy dream? What would be an amazing accomplishment? How much money would help your family? I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know, maybe $500, whatever. And he said, okay, well, how about bigger than that? And I was like, bigger than that? What do you mean? Like, I don't know. Like, okay, 1,000, I don't know. And he's like, how much, like, more? What would really help your family? And I'm like, who is this guy? Like, why is he trying to ask me about my dreams and my family? And what the heck? Like, I didn't get it. And so I'm like, all right, Josh, I didn't say this to him, but I was like, I'll play your game. I want, okay, $3,000. That'd be amazing. Okay. $5,000, Josh. It's like an auction. I was like, $5,000 would be amazing. Okay, great. And so finally he was happy with that. And, and so we kind of just took off from there. And then a couple months hit into coaching, and I had some people that came against me with some pretty terrible accusations. And they questioned my character, and they questioned why I was doing coaching, and they questioned my motivation, and that I was just trying to get people, and that I was using my pictures of my body in a Facebook post to be this unattainable body of a woman that, isn't realistic, or something crazy like that. And it really set me back. Like, for a quick minute, I was like, what in the world? Like, I don't even know what to do with this. Like, I'm helping people get healthy. I don't know. Why would anybody say these terrible things? I'm not trying to be prideful. I'm just trying to say, hey, look what's possible. And so I really had to take a step back and analyze, what do I feel about that? What is that my motive? Is that what I believe? No, that's not me. That's not my motivation for doing this. And I look back and I can see that it's their mindset that needed health, and that I needed to stick firm to what I had committed to do and what I was passionate about. And I just needed to continue forward. So during that time, I remember I just went back to those dreams, and I remember thinking of my family, and like the things that I wanted for us, and the things that, I want to see my family on this like massive 10-day Disney World vacation where we are having like the best time ever. And I would see their little faces so happy. And I went back to those dreams that we went over on that Coach Explore call. And I was just like, you're not stopping me. Like, your words are not going to hurt me. And so I resolved in my heart. And that's the word I want to leave you with, is that for me, I took the word resolve, and I mean, pretty much every day I think about that word, and I'm like, I resolve right now that I'm going to health coach. That if Josh and Michelle and Rachel and all of them, if they were wrong about this whole thing, then I'm going to give it 100%. And I'm going to say, I gave it my all. And if it didn't work, then fine. But what if it did work? And so I resolved in my heart. Resolve means a firm determination to do something. And so there's so much growth that has to happen in order to keep going to where I want to go. But I guess the one thing that I'll just leave you with is that typically the path to get what you want is through the pain that you're trying to avoid. And the growth that it's going to take to get to the next level is going to be, it's going to be massive. So you're going to have to do the steps. And what if it doesn't work? What if somebody accuses you? But what if this is all right. What if it works? And I'll tell you right now, that crazy dream that I had with Josh Bamba all those months ago, I'll just say I've surpassed even what I thought was crazy. That's mind-blowing to me. So I know my time's up, but I just want to say one more thing is that a coach told me yesterday, she's like, well, I just didn't have time to post on Facebook, and I got to get into the habit of that. Do the work. Like, the easiest things is what it's going to take to get to the next level. It's like, you don't want to post on Facebook. Well, it's like leaving $1,000 on the table. If I gave you $1,000 and I said, here, take it, and you forgot it, oh my gosh, right? Are you going to forget $1,000 on the table? No, don't forget to post. Don't forget to do your action steps. You're just, you got to stay committed. You've got to have the commitment to continue going forward. So yeah, so that's, I could go on forever because it's an amazing journey so far, but I'll stop.
Wow, way to start us off. I mean, that was fire, Micah. Did you guys get a lot of amazing tips from there? And can I tell you, I am so glad that that one person didn't feed into your chatter and have you give up, because look at you now. You know, you're growing an incredible team. You're doing absolutely amazing. So proud of you, my friend. Awesome start, you guys. Well, are you ready to keep going? So I'm really excited. So that was an incredible start off to this call, and we're just going to keep that fire going. Now, how many of you would like to learn from someone who went FIBC in their first 3 months of coaching? Yes, you heard that right. 3 months into coaching, our next speaker went FIBC. End of March, she started at senior coach, or she ended March at senior coach, and then made a decision that she was going all in. Well, since the beginning of April, her business has just exploded. In the last 2 months, she's grown a front line of over 16,000. She's brought on, I think, 10 coaches. 5 of those coaches went senior, 2 of them went ED, and this girl continues to be on a mission. So I have never seen a coach offer coaching unapologetically to everyone that she interacts with and she talks to. So I'm really excited to bring on Integrated Regional Director Erica O to come on and share with us exactly how she's doing it. So Erica, my friend, go ahead and take it away. Oh, you're muted.
All right, can everybody hear me? All right, good morning, future FIBCs. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about today something called I plus Q equals A. And I didn't even know what the heck this was until last week when Michelle asked me to speak on this call, but she wanted me to explain how I came on already doing I plus Q equals A before I heard about it. So I wanna talk about what that formula stands for. So the first part of it is I stands for identify. And the first question I asked myself coming in, not even knowing this formula, was, who's my dream team? So I want you to first ask yourself that. Like, if you could have your dream team of coaches, who would you love to work with? Who would those people be? And write them down. And who popped in your head when you first heard that question? Ask yourself questions like, which of your clients, love the program and are having amazing results? Who do you know that's unhappy in their current career and they maybe lack financial freedom, time freedom, or both? Who's lost a career or career security or has taken a pay cut due to COVID? That's a whole nother room of people that have opened up just lately. And maybe who do you know with a big social network or an entrepreneurial spirit? So the first 2 people that popped in my mind when I said who's my dream team were Tiffany Tillman and Verinio Ohanian. And they are my first 2 that hit ED and the only 2 on this call today. And we'll talk about them a little more in a minute. So the Q in I plus Q equals A stands for is for qualify. Okay, what are the characteristics or qualities that you look for in an ideal coach? And just think about what you've done in the past. Who have you worked with that what qualities do you most admire in past or current coworkers? For me, some of those were perseverance, grit, coachability, people that are money motivated, and have a huge heart and a passion for helping and encouraging other people. So ask yourself kind of what are those qualities that you most want in the people that you work with? And then the A stands for approach. And really how I did the approach is I just started calling and connecting with as many friends and family members as possible. And of course, in natural conversation, they're going to ask you how you're doing. And then when they do, that's your time to, proudly and passionately share your story. So I would tell them, I'm doing amazing. Thanks for asking. I've actually lost 42 pounds in 4 months with this program that's changed my life so much. that I decided to pay it forward, and I'm helping other people do the same thing. And in 3 months, I was able to leave my corporate job of 15 years to do this full time, and I'm happier than I've been in as long as I can remember. Most people, when I say that, have some questions about the program or the business or both. So that's kind of a natural progression. So I want you to go back to us for a second to like who popped in your head when I asked you if you could have your dream team of coaches, who would that be? So it seems like an obvious, like, duh question, but have you approached all of those people that popped into your head with both the health and the weight loss and the business opportunity that Optavia holds on offer? And your approach may be completely different for different people on your list. So my top 2 on my list were Tiffany and Verinia. So I'm going to use them as examples. So Tiff had a very similar story to myself. She had gained a lot of weight and she was exhausted and miserable at her job. And I knew that if she tried and fell in love with this program the way I had, she'd absolutely jump on board and blow me away on the coaching side. And man, has she. Like, Tiffany was the one on my list, but I also got her husband, Toby, which was the best free gift with purchase ever, because that man is another powerhouse. So the 2 of them together, they fell in love with the program, jumped on. Those 2 hit ED in 21 days from starting coaching, which is freaking amazing. So I just approached her kind of because we have the same story. Verinia, on the other hand, was the other person at the top of my dream team list. And she had always been like super into the gym, super fit, had a great figure. And so I just called her and told her, hey, I have a business opportunity that seemed right up her alley if she was interested. And it turns out she was. So not only did she surprisingly enough sign up for the program, and she's lost over 15 pounds now, but after joining Journey to Health and talking to me, she signed up to coach the very first day. And this girl hit senior coach in less than 1 week before she ever even started her own program or ever tried even one fueling. So that is mind-blowing, right? So it's like, who knows what can happen when you approach somebody. Like, everybody's situation and story is different. So I want to talk about the most important piece of all of this. And you're going to hear me talk about this every single time I speak on a call. And that piece is your mind. And I want y'all to know, and I tell myself this daily, that until you master your mind, you will never master your business. So the mind is the train, and the whole part of that is training your mind. And the key word in that statement really is the training part. It's kind of like when we start program. You didn't wake up one day and you started a program that day, so you didn't just wake up that day with no cravings, no temptation, an instant ability to eat 6 meals every 2 or 3 hours and drink 100 ounces of water, right? No, you started being conscious of your actions around, your food and water, and you begin to retrain your body to get the results you wanted. And in that very same way, that's how we can begin to train our mind, by identifying the chatter and starting to retrain it just like we do our body. So my biggest weapon to avoid chatter is to get ahead of it. And the biggest way for me to get ahead of that's most successful, is by taking action. And I always tell myself, and just go for it. Like, act before your chatter even has a chance to speak, because that's what slows us down and gets in our head. So just pick up that phone and call before your mind has time to tell you anything else. When I picked up the phone to call Verinia, I didn't think of all the why nots. And now looking back, there could have been so many of them for her. Like, she didn't look like she had any weight to lose. She had a high-paying 6-figure career. She looked perfectly happy and content with her life, right? And let me address that really quickly too. You never know where somebody is in their life. Like, you never know if your call may be the very opportunity they're desperately seeking right now. And they may look and seem perfectly happy with their life and their job on Facebook, but so did I before Optavia, and I was absolutely miserable. So you just never know. And there's one more quick life coaching tool that I learned that I want to share with you guys to help you address and tell the truth about your chatter. And what you do with that, when chatter pops into your head, I want you to write down every piece of that chatter, and you can label it. You can ask yourself, is this true, false, or don't know? And let's go back to Bernie. Like, I acted first to avoid the chatter, and I just called her, right? But what if I couldn't? What if all I could think about before I had called her was, she's not going to want to hear about this, right? So is that true all of the time is the first thing I ask. Like, every time I call Verinia, is she not interested in what I have to say? Does she never want to hear about anything I say? No, she's usually cool to hear with what I have to say. So, okay. And what if, like, would she definitely want to hear about Optavia? I mean, maybe, maybe not. So when you come down to it, I didn't know if that was definitely true or false. That was the big don't know. I don't know. And what you'll find when you let yourself, if you let yourself feel the feelings, like what feeling would I have if that pops in my head that she's not going to want to hear about it? What's the feeling underneath there? Fear. That's my fear. Before I call somebody, that chatter is your fear. So what you'll learn is that you don't have, you like the feelings are always true. What is true is that fear. So you don't have any idea if somebody does or doesn't want to hear about this program. You just fear that that could be the case, but your fear has nothing to do with the actual reality of the situation. And that's what you have to remember. So that brings me to my final tip, which Miss Tiffany Tillman told me one day, and I use it daily to move forward with this business. Daily, I say this to myself a million times a day. When someone isn't interested, when somebody can't afford it, when somebody cancels their premier membership and doesn't want, or somebody doesn't want to coach and you were sure that was your next big superstar, right? I want you to tell yourself this: some will, some won't, so what next? And that I say over and over again: some will, some won't, so what next? Keep it moving forward, because every morning I pray that God will, bring me the exact people I'm meant to work with, and he'll close the doors on anyone I'm not. And that to me gives me a peace that someone bigger than me is guiding my steps in this journey, and that if a door closes, hey, I may not understand right now, but there's a bigger purpose. There's somebody else I'm meant to work with. So just remember that: some will, some won't. So what next? All right, y'all have an awesome day.
Was that not incredible? Oh my God, she literally just brought the fire to you guys. And can you believe she's only been coaching for 3 months? That's it. She started in March. And this is why she's built an integrated business in less than 3 months. Erica, that was explosive. My most favorite line that you said, actually, there was quite a few. But until you master your mind, you will never master your business. She hit the nail on that. That is so dead on. Everything is up here, right? Just like our own journey when it comes to weight loss, everything is up here. Same thing to coaching. So put in the chat, the top 2 or 3 things that you heard Erica say. That was so good. Thank you, my friend. So next, I'm excited to bring on someone that doesn't really need an introduction. She's just incredible in her own force. And she's going to go over, well, what's next, right? We're approaching these people. We're asking them to come explore. So what is the next skill set that I need to master? Well, that is the Coach Explore, right? We want to be able to give a powerful Coach Explore to leave that client or that person that's on your heart that you've invited to it wanting to coach with us and Optavia. So for that, I'm going to bring on the incredible Global Director, Rachel Richards. Rachel, my friend, take it away.
Good morning. Wow, hard to follow all of these beautiful ladies this morning. Fire. Okay, so get a pen and paper, because we're going to go tactical, practical, skill set stuff that you guys can put into action and take off immediately. So first of all, just kind of looking at what's the mindset that we have to go into. I think Erica just killed that, and she set us up for that really bold, capable mindset, just wide open, curious, coachable, beautiful. Now, when you think about the big idea, what's the big idea of this Coach Explore call, right? Well, that big idea is to advance the client in their total health journey and advance our business. Okay, so remember that our business is always a mountain climbing effort, right? Nobody gets to go anywhere without bringing somebody up with them. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that just the purity of intent that we all want in a workplace and in a mission? Is like, if someone else isn't getting healthy, if someone else is not advancing in their total health, we're not receiving a paycheck. If we're not transferring skills, that's not happening. So I absolutely love that. I want you to think about that and think about, well, what would be the opposite of that? And I really want you to kind of sit with this idea of, do you guys ever talk about program offline in text messages? Do you try to explain our program in a text message? Do you try to explain it when people say, hey, what's that thing you're doing, right? You cannot explain it. Optavia does not fit into a box. We do not fit into a box. That's probably one of the biggest things that I tell people, is trying to put us in a box, right, is going to be painful. So casually talking about coaching is like casually talking about the 5-in-1. It doesn't work. So probably one of the biggest offenders that we see that will take down the sponsoring numbers is when our coaches, and we did it too. So everything I tell you, if I say our coaches did it, we did it wrong. Okay, so we did it wrong. So don't do what we did. And I'm sharing all of our failures and all of our successes, and in total humility. So we would talk about coaching casually with people. That doesn't work. Our coaches would tend to do that as well. So we might be talking to them about, who's your next coach? And they're like, oh, well, I was talking to this person and they said, you know, they don't really have the time, or they want to be further along in their health journey. They feel like they have to get there, you know, stuff like that. Now, what that shows us is the Coach Explore call was missed. Okay, the power of the mentor team was taken out. The ability to go through a Coach Explore call properly was negated. And we basically gave away our how before we got the why. Okay, same with the health journey. So everything we do has a purpose to protect the client and to protect the opportunity and to drive your business forward. Okay, so ask yourself, first thing I got a lot of things for you guys to, this is like systems check, right? Am I talking about coaching casually ever? And am I doing the pre-call planning that needs to happen with my mentors? And am I scheduling as many Coach Explore calls with my mentor team as possible, right? So what comes before the Coach Explore call is celebration calls, right? So without the celebration call, you're probably not going to have Coach Explore calls. Without integration, you're not going to have a celebration call or much to celebrate, and you're not going to have a Coach Explore call. This thing is so lined up for you to follow and have a beautiful, very productive business. So look at those things that maybe you're omitting, and then we'll be able to get into really powerful sponsoring. So I hear people say all the time, I have a sponsoring mindset. And you know what? I agree with them, but they're missing the actions that will get the sponsoring mindset to actually result in sponsoring. Okay, so the first thing I want to cover, we're going to go through a bunch of stuff, is this idea of pre-call planning. Do you guys know that in major organizations, I used to work for very large companies, we would spend a lot of money on business intelligence, okay? Business intelligence always shortens a sales cycle. And I'm going to talk about the Coach Explore call today in that context. You guys know at this level that we don't sell and we don't tell, but we share and we care. But I want you to think about, are we taking a long time to do something that doesn't take a long time to do? Sponsoring, moving a client forward in their health journey, getting them to pay this gift forward. Are we coming into it thinking, well, everybody has their journey, they might coach a year from now, I want to give them their time, and are we stretching out something that should be short? Coaching is phase 2 of program. Some people get there in a week, some people get there the same day they buy their kit because they caught that vision, and other people get there in a year. But coaching is phase 2 of our program. Without it, they're going to have a hard time staying forward moving in their health. You either believe that or you don't believe that. And if you don't believe that, that is going to cause your sponsoring to go down, right? Because that's really the truth of our program, is that reverse engineering of our plan. So first of all, let's get into the scenario, right? You've done some pre-call planning. So when I am told by one of our coaches, hey, I usually see it in our client support page. You guys know what I'm talking about, that I plus Q equals A. So you're in your client support page and you just see this client. We're going to talk client scenario, non-client scenario. And I'm going to go as fast as I can because I got a lot to cover. So client scenario is they're in the client support page and they're acting like a coach, right? They're giving the recipes, attaboys, welcomes. They're always welcoming people. They're always helping and responding. They're integrated. They're identifying themselves as a coach, okay? So with that, we call them, thanks to Kristen Reyes on our team, we call that a coach without a kit, Okay. So how many coaches without a kit do you have in your client base right now? And that's that I plus Q equals A. So now I'm going to go to their Facebook and learn a little bit about them before the Coach Explore call. Okay. I need to know about their life. Maybe they're not my client. I'm the mentoring coach, and I'm going to learn a little bit about their life. Okay. Then I want to go in and really look at, before the call, I want to talk to the coach that is bringing me on the Coach Explore. So that's the other thing is, are you doing every Coach Explore call with your mentors? If you're not, you're missing out on the team IQ, right? And there's a lot of refinement through repetition that happens there. So that would be the other systems check thing to look at. So I would like to know from the health assessment, I would say, for instance, if this was Micah, is Kelly integrated? Mostly she is. She's doing great. She's not in her life book that much, but I want to know about the client, and I want to know about their life, and I want to know about the need that we can fill. So in the health assessment, there's things that I would like to know about that client and their journey thus far to be able to have a very good Coach Explore call. The first thing, let's go through just the mechanics of the actual call really quick. I know this sounds obvious, but smile. When you meet them for the first time, give them a warm welcome, a smile. They're coming into a Zoom room with their coach who they know, and hopefully they know you. Because if you're that mentor coach, you were on that 1 week celebration. You were on that 1 month celebration. So do you guys see that the little things that we omit really start to throw a kink in a wrench in the whole operation? Because there is team coaching throughout this whole process. And if we take it out, it can make things a little harder than they need to be. So the first part of that Coach Explore is that warm welcome. Thank them for making the time. Ask them what they loved about watching the video. Okay, so in the pre-call planning, if I have a client that is moving from client to coaching opportunity, it's the Becca Tincture video. If it's a non-client coming in looking at this from a business opportunity, I usually will send the Dan Bell video that explains health coaching as a business, right? That might be too much for a client, but that might be really good for someone that's looking for a second income and is vetting us on that stability and our compensation and how we work. So the same video for everybody, maybe not. Work with your support team and figure out which would be the best. I always think that the Becca video is a great place to start. So after the warm welcome, what did you love about the video? Did you have any questions about the video? Really kind of bringing them into a space where they're talking. Then I like to offer my 90-second story about coaching. This is a systems check. Go and see, is your story longer than 90 seconds? Because we only have about a 20-minute explore call. So if you are taking the bulk of the time talking about everything coaching's done for you and all the fears you had and everything, it becomes about us, and we want it to be about them. So I let them know in that 90-second story how it affected my healthy body, my healthy mind, and my healthy finances. Bing, 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 real quick. And then the sense of fulfillment that I've got from this community and a little example of that. So if your story's longer, keep practicing it. And then each mentor on that Coach Explore should have a quick story about their coaching. They may not relate to my story for coaching. They may relate more to their actual coach, but this gives them an idea that there is diversity in these experiences and that they may identify with one or more of us on that call. So make sure that everybody has a chance to kind of share what coaching has done for them quickly. And then we move it back on to the client. I love to ask them like I said, any questions about the video. Make sure that you soft skill, relate, but never inflate yourself, because they're coming in, most people are coming in thinking, I can't do this. I'm interested, I'm curious, but I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a personal trainer, I'm not a life coach, I'm not a mindset guru, whatever they have experienced is what they think they have to come in and start coaching. So instead of inflating yourself, deflate yourself quickly and relate to them at that lowest common denominator of fear that they have. So fear of not having the time to health coach, fear of not having the ability is going to be the chatterbox that you're going to be sitting with in that Coach Explore call. Bring it out. We do not want to end the Coach Explore call with silent objections. A silent objection is the kiss of death to moving forward your business in that call and moving the client forward in that opportunity. So you have to get some of that chatter out, any fears, any perceptions. That's the place that we're going to want to talk about it. We don't want them getting off of the Coach Explore and having all this stuff in their mind that nobody addressed with them and was able to educate them on, right? So don't be afraid of bringing that stuff out. Make sure that you share our vision and our mission, okay? That is probably the thing that when I'm on a Coach Explore, that I bring Dr. A into everything. He's such a powerful man. We can never leave him out. Powerful in the way of his heart and his compassion and his love for humanity. And I love to bring that in and let them know who our visionary is and what his ideas are about helping and servicing the world, you know, and how they can be a part of that. So don't forget Dr. A in your Coach Explore. And then I like to ask them, are the top 5 people in your life healthier than you or unhealthier than you? And usually 9 times out of 10, it's like unhealthier. So right away, I let them know, like, see how you're needed, see how powerful this is that you have this gift. And how do you think that's going to affect your health journey when your circle and your community starts experiencing what you've been experiencing now, right? So usually I like to talk about what we're not as well. So what is coaching and what isn't it? It's not selling, it's not telling. These are the fears they have. I don't know how to sell. I've never been in a sales position. I don't know if I could do this. Well, that tells us that they believe that they have to have a selling ability to be a health coach, right? So we have to go through some of those. I love to think about it like this. I want you guys to think about your top 5 objections for coaching, okay? When we know our top 5, these are not surprises, right? We can't act like, oh, that's the first time I've ever heard that. How do you overcome those objections? Through empathy, sharing, and caring, and not telling or selling. Top 5 objections for coaching: I don't have the time. I haven't lost all my weight yet. I don't know anything about nutrition or fitness. I don't want my friends thinking weird of me or that I'm trying to get them, right? All of the above. You guys name the top 5. You know what they are. I don't have time. I haven't arrived yet. I'm not an expert. How are we going to overcome that? That's best handled on a Coach Explore, not a casual conversation, right? So those are now I try to also know the top 5 reasons that people would coach is that they want an increased appreciation for the personal development. I like to say on my Coach Explore, how are you loving our community? And they're like, oh my gosh, I love it. I love the client support page. I love the Wednesday night calls. I'm loving my life book. And I let them know you're going to get a different key now in health coaching. And I posture it in the future. When you start coaching, like they're going to, and because that's the best assurance of their personal development and health, when you start coaching, you're going to have a key that unlocks different doors than you currently have access to. You're walking through these doors as a client and you're loving it. Imagine having another key that unlocks even more doors in your personal development journey. Healthy mind to protect that healthy body. If you like the client support community, wait till you're a part of the coaching community. You are going to love it. It is going to change your life. You are going to show up better in every area of your life. And I tell them, I'm a better mother, I'm a better wife, I'm a better friend since I started health coaching. How exciting is that for you? So make sure that that posture is when you health coach, you're going to love these things. And what things are they going to love? Share the things that you love, authentically. Ask them if they're starting to see. I always like to do this on my Coach Explore. How do you like the Wednesday night calls? Oh, they're amazing. You're loving your life book. Yep, you love your client support page. You're using the app. Sounds like you're integrated. Maybe they're missing one or two things, guys. And on this Coach Explore, now they're like, ooh, I better go back as a client and start doing those things too, right? So it drives go back to the beginning of what I said. Coach Explore calls move them forward in their health journey, whether they say yes to coaching that day or not, because they're going to be like, ooh, I haven't been in my life book. And she did kind of bring that up. Why I bring up integration on the Coach Explore is because they can see that they don't have to be an expert. They don't have to have a lot of time, because they're going to plug their client into all of their clients' resources, and they're not going to hero coach, and they don't need a lot of time, and they don't need to be an expert. The systems being used repetitively show our audience that they do not have to be an expert. If our clients are not integrated, they're going to think that they need to be a food cop and have a ton of time to do hero coaching. So this is also a systems check on how you're doing your client support, because remember, if we make it time consuming and all too complicated, the only thing they could say when we offer them a Coach Explore call is, no thanks. I don't have the time to do what you do, because we're not following those systems. So you'll see a massive improvement in your sponsoring when you stop hero coaching and use the systems, because it is the validation that you do not have to be an expert to do what we do. You just have to be a loving guide that plugs people into their resources so they are equipped. And this is a journey of self-efficacy. So I make sure to reiterate that on the call and let them know that they are, we do that time check. I do let them know that some of the qualities that we saw in them, I love to bring that out on the call. So I plus Q equals A. We need to tell them how they are a health coach versus how they're not. This group has been seeing you in the health coach pages, or in the client support pages rather, and you are doing an amazing job. You are such a kind person. You're so encouraging. We would love to have somebody like you on our team. We would love to serve you. We team coach. And now if we haven't been team coaching in their health journey, do you think they believe us that we team coach? Another systems check, okay? Because team coaching has to start from the beginning. And now they're like, oh, okay, well, if you're gonna help me help my friends, then I'm happy to do this, right? But we have to validate that with action, not with words. So at the end, I let them know that, the cost of being a health coach. And I also let them know that everything that is going to cover. The way that I posture that is this $199 is for your phase 2 of program. You are going to personally develop in every capacity. It is going to be, I tell them, I used to spend $199 on a workshop for a weekend to personally develop myself, or on personal development books, but I didn't have anybody there to help me work it out, and I didn't have a community to grow me. This is the best $199 that you are ever going to spend. We have a plan. We provide just-in-time training, and I explain that. I explain that this business has 4 quadrants, right? And we're going to provide just-in-time training. And then if they're business-minded, I definitely talk about the 3 tiers of pay. So if they are coming in looking at this non-client experience, we definitely, the posture that we take that has gone well with us is we get them in fat burn. Even if they don't need to lose weight, we want them on program, we want them in their life book. So if they're coming in from a business opportunity, I let them know how much they're gonna love the residual income, how much they're gonna love the diversity in their income. And how important is that right now? When you think about multiple streams of income in the current state of the world that we're in, how important is it to a family, to a household, to have multiple streams of income? It is so important, right? And people, their ears are like, yes, it is. And I would like to know more about that. So coaching is a gift. And however we think about it is exactly how they're going to think about it at the end of that call. We don't drag, convince, persuade anyone. So one thing I'll close on is this: when they say, well, you know, I don't know how to sell or whatever, I like to bring them back and say, do you remember being sold on your health journey? And they're like, no. Great, we're not going to do that. You can't sell health and personal development. People have to want it. We're going to help you to find the people that want it. This is going to be so fun, and we're going to be hip to hip with you every step of the way. So anyway, got so much to say on that, Coach Explore, but I hope that was a few nuggets for you guys mastering what to do and what not to do.
That was so good. Was that not helpful, you guys? She just rocked that and just killed it. I mean, few things that you learned from Rachel on mastering a Coach Explore. That was so good, because you guys remember we want to master these skill sets, right, and moving forward in our business. So now that we've mastered a Coach Explore, and now you're bringing on coaches and they're ready to join this mission with you and really make an impact on the world. Now what, right? So next, we're actually going to get into a meet and greet, which is such a powerful tool, you guys. Now, this is one you'd never, ever, ever miss, right? And so for that, I actually have my other half, no one but Mr. Josh Bamba, Integrated Presidential Director, who is actually really good at these meet and greets, really getting people to really dream and see the vision of what coaching can do in their life. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Mr. Josh Bamba. Take it away.
Thanks, babe. Cool, guys. Well, I know because of time, we're going to rush through this. So I'm going to channel my inner Michelle and my speed talking. And there's a lot to cover with the meet and greet. But what I want to tell you is this is the most important call because you're immediately going to set the tone for your coach's business. The real cool thing, what we're doing is, you know, they talk about how, you know, 50% of your coaches are never going to reach senior coach. If we do a really good meet and greet, the idea is we want to help those coaches catch those wins. We want to help them get to the point where they're excited, they're moving forward. So now instead of that 50%, maybe it's only 30%, or maybe it's 20%, or maybe all your coaches hit senior coach. But really the idea is we want to get this call scheduled within 24 hours of them buying their kit, right? They bought their kit for a reason, and we need to jump on that when they're still excited. But before they get on this call, and I've actually rescheduled a few, I want to make sure that they have clicked on that new coach welcome email, and they have clicked, or they have gone through step 1, step 2, and step 3 in that, because I want to spend my time on this call getting people to dream, getting people to develop their story, helping them understand what it is that we're going to do as coaches. Because I'm sure even on the Coach Explore that Rachel just went over, they still had a lot of questions, or they were still kind of like, all right, I think I'm going to do this. So the meet and greet is so important because you're going to set the tone for their business. So getting them on, having a list of people that have already been asking, a list of people they want to see get healthy, maybe some of their goals. And just like Micah said earlier, you know, sometimes we got to push a little more to get a bigger goal out of them, right? Think if maybe me and Micah didn't have that conversation, would she still be there, right? Would she still be doing this? You know, but I mean, it would be great to think, yeah, she would, but maybe she wouldn't. At the same time with some of your other coaches, they're going to have the chatter. They're going to have, so really connecting them with their why, just like we do with our clients, right? We connect them with their why, because I know day 1 through 4 is going to be tough. Why are they doing this? You know, what is it that's going to motivate them? When their friends say, let's go out, what's going to motivate them to continue to stay on program? Well, that's the same thing that we need as coaches. We need a why, right? So this meet and greet is not only for their why. You know, number 1, it's for them to meet the team, right? We want to know what we want to accomplish with this meet and greet. It's to meet the team. It's to develop their story. It's to let them know how fun coaching can be. How many people came into this wanting another job, right? Did you guys want another job? Nobody wants another job, right? The idea of health coaching, it's supposed to free up time from that job. It's supposed to make it so we don't have to go back and continue that overtime. It's to make it so we get to spend more time with our family, you know, different things like that. So the main thing that we want to do when we start this call is we want to know what we're accomplishing, because I think a lot of people probably get on meet and greets and maybe talk about, oh, who are we going to call, and how are things going, and tell me your story. Well, if we're really going to dig into really starting to get this new coach trained, we want to know their story. So I started off with, tell me more about yourself. If we had done their meeting or their Coach Explore a couple days before, I'm going to ask for an update on weight and inches, stuff like that. But I want to know, where were Optavia? How did you feel? What drove you to start Optavia? Your results aren't just weight and inches. Results are also energy, medication, inflammation, aches, pains, sleep, all the other stuff. And that's usually what most people's stories are. And then they're like, oh yeah, and I lost 40 pounds. But the idea behind it is we want to develop a good story, and it's going to finish with, why did you decide to coach? Why do you want to help others? And then once we develop their story, we let them know that that's really just all you're going to do as a coach. The more people that hear that story, more people you're going to be able to help. So the only reason that I'm more successful than the next person is I've just told my story to more people. So I'm really setting them up just for the idea of, all we aren't selling, that like Rachel was just talking about, just sharing our story, looking for the people that are looking for us. But really digging into this call, finding their why is the number one reason for this call, right? Think about it. Why do you go to work, for those of you that actually have a job? Why do you wake up in the morning, get in the car, go in your commute? What are you trying to do, right? You're trying to earn a living. You're trying to put a roof over your head. You're trying to feed your family. So money is a reason why you go to work, right? A lot of people come into coaching and they say, oh, I just want to help a few people, right? Think about it. They just spent $200 on a coaching kit to help a few people, right? People feel uncomfortable to talk about money, but people go to college, they go on interviews to find a high-paying job that they like or they don't completely hate, that can help them, with their house, with their cars, with everything that they need. But for some reason, when people come to coaching, they don't want to talk about money. But when I talk about money, it's not necessarily the money and the greed and I want to stack bank accounts, right? What does that money allow you to do? That's where I share my story. It allowed me to leave a job. I'm now a stay-at-home dad and husband, right? I'm able to do things. I'm able to give back to the community, to the church. I'm able to take my wife on vacations, or she actually takes me on vacations. But the idea is I'm able to spend time with my family, right? But nobody ever wants to talk about money. So I have to make that uncomfortable. All right, well, I'm going to be the one, because that I need to know what you're working for. And I need you to throw together a list, right? Or I don't tell them I need you to. I suggest that throwing together a list of things is what is going to help them be successful, because subconsciously they need to see the success as they're checking their list off, right? Whether it be questions like, why did you start coaching? Usually it's to help a few people, but I don't know, I want to get my food paid for. Or some people, they'll talk about, wanting to make $1,000 just because it's a good round number, or $500. But then I'll ask, what does success look 90 days out? What do you want to create for your family? What type of income would be cool? What kind of income would blow your mind and you'd go pull it out of the bank so Optavia didn't take it back if they found out they made a mistake? I've actually had those calls too, with probably a few you that are on this call as well. But I want to move it away from bills, right? If we're working to pay our bills, if we're working to, maybe upgrading a car is something we can work toward. If we're just working to keep the light, to put food on the table, it turns into a job. So we always want to work towards something. Like Micah, I'll use her because she talked a minute ago. Her family is Disney everything. I'd be surprised I wouldn't be surprised if one of them grew, Mickey Mouse ears, just naturally from the time that they spend talking about Disney and at Disneyland. Well, that was a big driver for Micah. It was, I want my family to be able to have this time together at Disney World or at Disneyland or different places, right? Well, her dreams kind of shifted where, holy moly, what Optavia is giving me is allow us to actually purchase a house. It's going to allow us to be able to provide, and do things like that for the family. So really getting people to dream with this is the idea. That's what's going to continue to drive them to reach their goals to be successful. And I know we're going to get into senior coach celebration calls tomorrow, but the idea of this is that the dreams are what is going to drive the action, right? On this same call, I want people to send out the message to people to hop on a practice call. That practice call, I usually only want to do those with people that have already asked, what is it you're doing? Or close family and friends. We've all been on those practice calls where people have just been there, one-word answers. They're just there to help with a practice call. But I want to talk to people that are interested. Usually with coaches, when we start a new coach, I want to see them have wins as early as possible. So first 3 days, I say we're going to do as many practice calls as possible. Typically, we'll do 3, maybe 4. If we can get 5 in, great. Because day 4, we're going to Facebook. I want to find people that have a legitimate interest in what we do. Remember, we're only looking for people that are looking for us and our story. The more ears we tell it to, the more successful we're going to be. So by day 4, I want people, good with the health assessment, back on Facebook. Well, now we can open it up to even more people, right? Typically, if we follow this, we can see a senior coach within a week, potentially 2 weeks on, as a coach. But really, the idea is we want to help our coaches get wins. If we can't get them connected to their why on this call, that why is what drives them to do the practice calls. Those practice calls are what makes them capable enough to hop onto Facebook. And once they do that, that's usually where we see them collect the wins. But that's why this call is so important. That's why I love this call. But what we need to do is really get good at digging into people's why on this call instead of just these are the actions we're going to do. And I know in one of the groups, in probably the boot group, we're going to throw just the different scripts that we had talked about, maybe the celebration call from yesterday, the Coach Explorer, and the meet and greet as well. But I can pass it back to you, Michelle.
Awesome. Was that not good stuff, you guys? All about getting them to dream, because dreams drive the action. Always remember that, right? That is our biggest thing. When we come into a health assessment, we're trying to get them to dream about their journey, what their journey is going to look like, what that finish line looks like. We want them to, think about what the possibility is when it comes to their health journey. Well, now as coaches, you guys, is we want to see what the possibility, we want them to dream of the possibility of what can happen with coaching, because that is going to drive their action. That was so awesome, you guys. Thank you so much for all of the speakers that came on and just brought in so much value, so much passion, so much fire, and just really showed us how it's done. So I'm going to go ahead, and since we're at the top of the hour, I'm going to go ahead and just post the action steps into the group along with the recording. So for your coaches, for your friends that weren't able to catch on, make sure you tag them in the recording so they can catch up. But thank you again, everyone, for sharing so much today. I hope that brought value to all of you guys. I really hope that you also not just start to apply this. Remember, you can come and listen, you can take notes, but if you're not applying this to your business, you're not moving your business forward. So thank you guys again. Have a good rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow for the final day of FIBC Blitz. Have a good rest of your day.